Okay, please continue. The last videotape apparently cut off, so I'm, sorry about that. What was your question?
It would appear to me that every time you do go down there, you go with a camera, and the camera appears to be the issue with these facilities. They're willing to give you the service that you're requesting, but the video camera, for their policy, is something that you cannot use.
Thank you. And what about under programmatic access? Me requesting it under programmatic access and what the law says I'm entitled to under Title II of ADA. Of course, since you don't have the ADA representative to state that that's correct here conveniently, where is the harm, especially considering I have the proof that under my adjustment disorder and the prior time of having been abused with a signed confession and an arrest record, with the confession admitting that I didn't commit the crime, the city did, and nobody has responded to that. Your allegations, your suppositions, the fact that about the video camera, this has been going on well before I started the video camera, as I was telling Ms. Kruger earlier.
Garza, what did they tell you at the city attorney's office as far as you accessing your medical treatment in the city? What did they tell you?
I believe the videos are on YouTube, ma'am. If you have a true concern, you can look at them and we can come in and discuss it.
So they said that you can receive medical treatment, that you're not allowed to have the videotape running.
Is this the same city attorney that, committed fraud and testifying in case CO23485 in 2003 to have my federal medical emergency lawsuit thrown out? Is this the same city attorney who 4 years later, signed a confession admitting fault and guilt for having broken federal law? For you to even ask me this question when that same city attorney still has not explained to me, the person with an adjustment disorder, what I have done wrong? No, madam, you are incorrect. The city attorney, of course, gave me his incorrect interpretation of 632. When I tried to follow up with him, he's done what everybody else has done in the past, say I'm disruptive, because naturally, when it comes to accounting and about accountability and transparency, it's not something that exists. But everybody is seeing this on YouTube. I, like I said, am not the failure. So, yes, I have discussed it with the city attorney. His Hobson's choices haven't worked on me. Every time I've tried to continue to go in, and do the correct thing, they've illegally escorted me out based on, that I'm being a disruption. Sort of pretty much what, your Captain Ramsey's told me a year ago, as opposed to offering help, the same time while you abandoned me. Oh, and let's not forget that when I came down here to to the chief of police office to tell them that my single point of contact had abandoned me and it wasn't working and it was a rigged procedure. Apparently that won't be accounted for either, and all the harm that I received in that by simply telling the truth. But then again, I understand it might be the inconvenient truth that you don't want to hear.
Mr. Garza, if I was in your position and what I was doing every single time didn't end up being something that got me in a better position, got me what I wanted or needed, if I was in your position, I would think that I may need to do something differently.
Madam, please, I hear what you're saying, and you are incorrect, because being in my position, I can show you where it took 6 years to get a signed confession when everyone told me I was doing it wrong. So for you to even offer that, to tell me right now, well, everyone is telling me that I'm wrong, which has happened before, and I now have a signed confession in which the city and no one has come clean about, is so disingenuous on your part, madam. The spin that you're trying to do here, the further harm as opposed to accounting for what I'm telling, since it is 100% the truth, since people can go online to my own private Guantanamo and see the signed confession, is not only distasteful, but for you to even bring it up and say, oh, well, just because everybody else is telling you you're wrong, you must be wrong, Mr. Garza, is already disproven. Not only by the signed confession, but the 7 years after the signed confession, no humanity from the Department of Public Health, no humanity from the city attorney, no humanity from the courts, certainly no humanity from the San Francisco Police Department, because we all know what the psych liaison did to me a year ago, and had she in any of her capacity as the CIT person or anything, I would be getting this help. But when every link is weak and set to fail, which is what this is all about, this culture of corruption, people on YouTube aren't going to say, oh, excuse me, Mr. Garza, you're really being wrong for continuing to follow up. They're going to be asking, why hasn't this man gotten the help that's legally required? Why at each and every turn, when he's legally correct, he's not received the help? That's what people are asking. But continue, because you know what? I will continue to do what is correct to prove that there is no help for anyone in this rigged procedure, and there is no accountability, inclusive of the psych liaison, who, you know, is supposed to have disability training, who sits on the mental health board. Oh, the farce. But we'll let the people on YouTube decide, because like I said, I will continue to follow up on my rights. And let's not forget, these are prepaid services. I'm a disabled person. You know, this illusion of help, of suggestions that are dead end, everything else, when I've already proven it.
So you have 8 more minutes. What would you like to do with it?
Well, maybe we should go down the list that I already made.
Okay.
All righty. Let's see.
I do want to tell you, though, that this is the last meeting like this that's going to happen. So,
Thank you. I do have to tell you that I disagree wholeheartedly, because I will continue to follow up. And if you choose not to meet with me,
yes.
that is on you. However, I am within my legal rights to continue to follow up, so especially since there is no resolution, and to continue to prove. So you're telling me right now that we will not have a meeting over your, you know, denial and abandonment a year ago, for you to be accountable or responsible for the harm and the damages that you did to me then as a psychiatric liaison.
I don't agree with your statement, and I've responded to that. So,
Thank you. The viewers on YouTube have all the videos here to see how much you disagree, what your spin is, who's telling the truth, and to also note that once again, I will be further harmed, because instead of coming clean as the psych liaison, as somebody who sits on the mental health board, you're continuing to play games with me. But then again, I understand that you don't agree with me. Okay. That's all right, because I don't agree with you. And, you know, being the person who's sitting here with a signed confession that no one has answered to, you know, I would rather believe in myself, especially after years of being told that I was incorrect. Because you know what? The truth will out. Just like these videos are outing everything. And they will continue to out. So was that a yes or a no? You will not speak to me in the future in regard to your abandonment and everything else?
I don't want to say never, but I can't imagine that I would.
So for all intents and purposes, that's a yes, you will not be speaking to me about this. Unless, of course, you know, I follow up with, let's say, Health and Human Services or the Office of Civil Rights, you know, and file a discrimination complaint, and they reopen this case, correct? So that they can come to you and speak to you about your training and the help that you've given me. At that point, maybe you might, but until I have to jump through all those extra hoops, your representation will be that you can't see that you're going to account for having abandoned me a year ago, and that I should have faith in you and trust, and that naturally this is a safe zone where I'm being afforded respect, compassion, and honesty, correct?
I'm not ever going to agree with that type of statement. So what today, as far as the criminal matter goes, what was that?
Define criminal matter.
I don't, you're the one asking for our services. I need
Define criminal matter. I don't know if it's going to mean the same thing in my mind that it means in yours. Please, let's come to an agreement on the definition, because constantly the definition seems to be shifting. The goalpost seems to be moving. Mind you, I've not been denied medical care according to you, but it's not a criminal matter. There wasn't a bogus restraining order that the Department of Public Health falsely, maliciously created that was criminal fraud, but that wasn't a criminal matter according to you either. So please, let's come to an understanding of what these terms mean.
So how about I ask you if the reason why you're here is because you want San Francisco Police to enforce you being able to get medical treatment. Is that true or false?
Well, I don't know, madam. On 4/8, on the tape at about 12 minutes, you had stated that if the issue is that the San Francisco Police is supposed to make it so that you get your medical treatment from the Public Health Department, then things are okay. Well, so you just asked me that question. Here is your own response. Did I get the medical treatment?
Mr. Garza, I'm trying to understand what you want from us. So, from what I've gotten out of the conversation, you thought that San Francisco Police isn't supposed to assist you in getting medical treatment. I went there. They told me that they're not denying you medical treatment. I personally don't see how it's a San Francisco Police matter to ensure your medical treatment, that is not that isn't something that.
So would the same thing have been said about when, Mr. Nieto was killed as a CIT officer? You couldn't see how it was a police matter when people are having problems getting what they're supposed to be getting per your misinterpretations.
We're not going to discuss Mr. Nieto because
Yeah.
he is a case that's currently under investigation.
Well, that's fine. You may not discuss it, but I will. I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Were you
We're
there
not
that
gonna,
night?
we're gonna not talk about you when you have 4 more minutes? What are we gonna get to accomplish anything today? Because I know that your time is very important and so is ours. I'd really like that we accomplish something today.
Well, let's see. Are you going to be able to go down with me as my psych liaison, knowing full well that under Title II of Programmatic Access, I'm allowed to videotape, go down with me to the Tom Liddell to ensure, as you stated earlier, where it says, if you're supposed to, if the issue is that the San Francisco Police is supposed to make you get your medical treatment from the Public Health Department, then things are okay. So, things are okay. I'm supposed to get my medical health treatment from the Public Health Department, and under Title II, under Programmatic Access, I'm allowed. So will you go with me? Please, let's go ahead. Let's pull this tiger by the tail. Will you go with me, or will you just tell me that you can't do that, and of course I'm on again?
I will talk to the city attorney and give you an email back on that. I need to make sure that I don't do anything inappropriate.
And will you also talk to the city attorney and the ADA representative about programmatic access? Did you by any chance view the videos on 11/27/12, the 6 videos that I told you about the sheriff, where, this had all been spoken about? And of course, how I was going to be able to get help at the Department of Public Health, and go in and, videotape and everything else, how we were going to look for a physician? Or did that conveniently fall by the wayside also when, you went down to Tom Liddell and, of course, didn't provide them with the entire picture?
I got lost in what
All
I
right,
was supposed
on
to do.
YouTube, 11/27, I told you last video that there were 6 segments of where I had been with the sheriff who had the people from the Department of Public Health's ADA person, not the Department of Public Health, but their ADA person there, the Mayor's Office of Disability, the sheriff, and other members seeking to get me my health care, and that did not happen. As a matter of fact, I continued to go in per what the sheriff told me to do. I drank his cup of poison, and they continued to deny me my health care, which you, of course, told me last meeting that I was not denied. So, let the illusions continue. Did you look at those videos, madam, to make a correct and accurate assessment?
I did not look at those videos.
Will you look
And
at those videos for the programmatic access requested that I had made to them, in addition to them not only dropping the ball 11/27 in the follow-up, but this is what I've told Mr. Yamaguchi. Everything is set to fail because every link is weak.
Mr. Garza, if you wouldn't mind emailing me how I can find those videos, I'll watch them and then I'll
Go to YouTube under Jason Garza, they're right
Okay,
there.
okay, and then I'll consult with the city attorney and I'll get back to you.
That's wonderful.
Okay, but our time is up now.
All right, so there will be no more meetings with you face to face for me to video record for the, accountability and transparency. Correct?
I don't want to say never, but generally speaking, no.
Thank you. I will continue to come in and ask, just like I did, a year ago when you were my only single point of reference, and I was being so rudely treated by everybody else when you didn't perform. But now it's on video,
Okay.
because I will continue to come in and ask, for what's required, and you can continue to do what you're going to
I'm
do.
gonna leave that paper there, so unless you pick it up.
So in other words, basically, you're telling me that since I didn't have to sign it, to get my medical records, you will not take it because you're going to leave it there to give me my medical records. That's correct?
You know
Thank
what?
you.
You know what? I'll shred it. How's
Thank
that?
you. Well, of course you will, but you won't do the correct thing. I understand. Thank you. Your representations are here on YouTube.
Okay.
I will continue and I will come back.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, as the psych liaison. Thank you for pointing out exactly how it's all rigged and unaccountable. Mr. Yamaguchi, are you walking away too? Because I had other issues, but...
No, his time is up also.
Okay, well, I'll just come in later again. Thank you. Have a nice day. God bless.